All right, let's go ahead and get started with our box plots and interpreting and using the information, the vocab from yesterday to identify key characteristics of our box plot. All right, so let's take a look at our scenario today. So we're going to be comparing two Major League Basketball associations. We've got a baseball association and a basketball association, and we're looking for the key components. Okay, we're looking for the key components. So when we're talking about the key components of the box plot, we're talking about the minimum, the maximum, Q1, Q3, the median, the IQR, the UQR, the LQR, and the range. Okay, so some of these are very easy to come by because they come directly from the chart. Other ones we have to do a little bit of math to calculate. Okay, so definitely encourage you to have your vocab out from the other day so that you can identify the values. All right, so let's start with the Major League Baseball. So we're talking about the top one. And we're going to start with the minimum. That means the smallest number. So the smallest number, the minimum, is going to be over here on the left. That looks like it's about 15. Our maximum, that is our biggest one. That's going to run pretty close to 50. Let's go ahead and round it to 50 just for ease of what we're doing today. Q1. Q1 is the first box, first dot on the box, left side of the box. So Q1 is right here. So Q1 value, that's going to be a 20. Q3, that is the right side of the box. So here is Q3. So Q3 looks like it's going to run pretty close to 30. So we're going to go ahead and we'll call that a 30. Median, that is the middle number. So here is our median. Median means the middle. That's the middle of the box. Let's call that a 25. Okay, so once we actually have all these values, these 5 values, we can actually come up with the rest of the numbers, rest of the values without having to look at our box anymore. Okay, so our UQR, that is our max minus our Q3. So our maximum was 50, our Q3 was 30, so 50 minus 30 is going to give me a value of 20. So what the IQR is actually asking for is how big the box is. Okay, how big the box is. That's what the IQR is. Oops, I take that back. That's the UQR. Get my numbers right here. So the UQR was 20. So let's go back. The UQR is the length of the right whisker, which is our maximum minus our Q3. The IQR is the size of the box. Okay, so let's do that one next. The IQR, that is Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 is 30, Q1 is 20, so my box is actually 10. Okay, the IQR is how big the box is. The UQR is how big the right whisker is. The LQR, that is the lower whisker or the left whisker, and that is Q1 minus our minimum. So Q1 was 20, our minimum is 15, so our LQR is 5. Now, range is typical range. It is the max minus the min. Okay, it is the max minus the min. So our biggest value was 50. Our smallest value was 15. So 50 minus 15 brings me to 35. Okay, hit pause. See if you can come up with approximate values for our NBA. Now, keep in mind you are going to have to estimate what these numbers are because they are not quite exact numbers. And if you have a ruler, sometimes it works nicely to just put a ruler on your screen and kind of use that to line up and figure out the numbers are. Okay, let's see how you did on the NBA. Okay, so our minimum, we're going to call that a 25. The maximum, we're going to call that 90. Now, your numbers should be close to this. If you're not exactly the same, just because of looking at the box plot and how it lines up, that's okay. Just make sure you're close. Q1, I'm going to call Q1 37 because it looks like it's about halfway between 35 and 40, maybe even 38. Let's make that an 8. That might actually be a little bit better. It looks like it's a little bit closer to 40. Q3, let's call that a 58. It's almost 60. And our median, remember that's the middle, that looks like it's pretty much in between. Let's call that a 48. Okay, again, we can find all of our values from these 5 numbers. So IQR is the size of our box, which is Q3 minus Q1. So 58 minus 38, that means my box is 20. The UQR, that is our maximum minus our Q3. So our max was 90. 90 minus 58. So the length of that whisker is 32. And our LQR, that is the length of our left whisker. We've got 38 minus our minimum, which is 25. So 38 minus 25 gives me 13. And the range is maximum minus minimum. So 90 minus 25 is going to bring me to 65. Okay, so again, the key characteristics of your box plot, all controlled with the 5 values, the minimum, the maximum, the Q1, the Q3, and the median. You can come up with all these other characteristics from just those 5 numbers. Okay, now let's take a look at about some box plots and answering some questions in terms of percentages, okay? And we need to remember that each of these sections of a box plot are 25%. Okay, each section is 25%. It doesn't make any difference how big the box is, okay, or the whisker. It just means that 25% of the data is in that section. Okay, so even if it's a bigger box, like if you look right here, the box here from 20 to 48, that's bigger than the box from 48 to 60. All that means, if the box is bigger, that means the data is more spread out. If the box is smaller, that means that the data is closer together, okay? So it's still 25% of your data, okay? Still 25% of your data. Now keep in mind, there is absolutely no way for us to know a couple things. Number one, we don't have the data. So we have no idea how many pieces of data there are. We have no idea how many people took this survey, or the data was pulled from a certain number of people. We have no idea how many people did anything. We just know percentages. Okay. All right. So this is comparing TV and homework minutes per night for sophomores. Okay, for 10th graders. So it says, what percent of the sophomores watch TV for at least 15 minutes per night? So that means more than 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm looking at TV time. That's the one we're talking about. And it says more than 15, or so at least 15 minutes. So we're starting at the 15 and we're going this direction. Well, that's 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. So that's 25, 25, and 25, which means that is 75%. Okay, so 25 plus 25 plus 25, that's a total of 3 sections, 75%. What is the third quartile? That means they're looking for Q3. Q3 on the TV time is 110. Okay. Now, is it more common for a sophomore at this high school to spend more than an hour on homework or more than an hour watching TV? Okay, so let's compare our data. So I'm going to go ahead and delete a couple things here. And I'm going to draw a line so we can actually look at what we're looking at. So we're talking about the 60. So an hour. So this percent on the homework time is 25%. This percent on TV time is 25 and 25, which is 50%. Okay, so we're comparing 25% on the homework time, 50% on the TV time. Which one's bigger? Well, obviously TV time is 50% more than 60 minutes versus homework time, which is 25% more than 25 minutes. Okay, so when we're comparing those, you're looking at it's really good to just kind of draw a line and look at what percentage is more than that or what percentage is less than that, depending on what they're asking you. All right, same type of problem, same data. We're looking at the homework time and TV time again. Let's keep going. Some sophomores didn't watch TV that month. Are there some sophomores that didn't watch TV that month? We're deciding whether these are true or false or could not be determined. Well, there actually is a value at 0. So there were students that did not watch TV because that gave us a data set. Okay. We don't know how many, but we know that there was some that had 0. The TV box and whisker graph contain more data than the homework graph. Do we know how many students actually took the survey? No. We have no idea how many students took the survey. So just because this one is bigger than that one has no connection to how many students took the survey. Okay, so we cannot determine which one contains more data. Okay, the more spread out the data is, the bigger the box plot. Okay, has nothing to do with the number. So what that means is this data is more spread out than that data. It has nothing to do with how many. Okay. 25% of the sophomores spend between 48 and 60 minutes per night on homework. Okay, so we're looking at homework. We're looking from 48 to 60. So from here to here. Well, that is one section of the box plot, and we know that that is 25%. So that would be true. 15% of these sophomores didn't watch TV that month. Okay, so let's think about that. 15% of the sophomores did not watch TV that month. Well, I see a 15, but does that 15 represent a percentage? No, that 15 represents minutes of TV time. Remember, these sections are 25%. Okay, so normally we're going to see values like 0, 25, 50, or 75, or 100. We're not going to see values of like 15, 30, 70. Okay, normally they fall on those quarters. So this one, we have no idea. This is not something that can be determined from that data. So this could either be false or it could be not determined because we have no idea how many students actually took the survey. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at this one. So we've got our same data. And question says, in general, these sophomores spend more time watching TV than doing homework. Well, a really good example of what we're talking about with that is look at your maximums. So maximum is 190 versus 225. Okay. That is true. And when we go back and we look at our percentages, this is 25% of students more than 60. This is 50% more than 60. Definitely, there's 25% more kids spending more time on TV than there is homework, just from this data right here. So that would be true. The TV data is more varied than the homework data. Well, this comes down to the size of the box. The more scattered the data is, okay? So we said the smaller the box plot and the smaller the whiskers, the tighter the data is together. So this box plot would have data that is more spread out, okay? So this is the TV time. This is homework. So that is true. There is definitely more variation in the TV time because that data is more spread out. The box and whisker plot is bigger, okay? The ratio of sophomores who spend more than 110 minutes per night watching TV to those who spend less is 2 to 1. Okay, the ratio of students who spend more than 110 minutes. So right here, okay, more than 110 minutes of watching is TV versus less is about 2 to 1. So let's think about that. So this is 1, 2, 3 sections versus 1 section. What do you think? Is that going to be a 2 to 1 ratio? Which one is actually bigger? Which one is actually bigger? Well, this is the bigger one because that's more sections. Okay, so that would be a false statement because 75% of your students watch less than 110 minutes per night. Okay, so that would not be a true statement. Okay, let's look at this one. Same data. 225 sophomores watch TV. What does this 225 represent? This is time, so this is minutes. That has nothing to do with how many students. Okay, we do not know from a box and whisker plot. We do not know. Okay, so this could either be false or not determined because we have no idea how many students took the survey. No idea. All it is minutes. Okay, twice as many sophomores watch TV for more than an hour than do homework for more than an hour. Okay, let's think about that. Here's 50%. Here's 25%. Is that twice as many sophomores? Percentage wise, yes. It is double the percent. Okay, double the percent. So you could argue that that is true. All right, so that should kind of give you an idea of how to start looking at box and whisker plots and comparisons. Remember, you're looking at percentages, okay? More than a number, less than a number. So go ahead and try your homework. If you are still struggling, look in the stats video or the red folder in the videos and watch the box plot interpretation videos to also help you. And we will continue tomorrow.